growing up until now, I always hear her voice saying that no matter what happens, you have to remember not to lose your faith in God. No matter what happens, remember that God is always there. So do not lose that relationship with Him, because no matter what you go through in life, God will always be there.
She based everything by the Bible, by His Word. That's why I until now, because she helped me a lot, really, for raising my kids.
Faith and that hope, I would say, is that she has taught me that whatever you ask in Jesus' name, that will be done for you.
She did show me love. And she did teach me to be an extension of God's love.
I learned to serve because my mum, I was her main carer, so I had her 24/7, and that is how I learned patience.
So my mum has always taught me to fear God in everything. You know, never to lie, always to look to Him for your strength.
And so even till Mum sort of passed, really, she was just waiting for the rapture. She was just so loved God. So I just feel so blessed that, you know, I had that in Mum.
It means a lot because it's the most amazing experience that a lady or a girl could ever experience.
Sacrifice. It means putting my children above myself. It means putting my dreams on hold, but for my kids. But above all, it's so rewarding, and it means just the love of Christ personified in my children.
It means a lot of responsibilities, guiding my children to do what's right, and always listening to them as well.
There are challenging times, I'm not going to deny that, but honestly, it's one of the blessings I've enjoyed from God.
Giving as much as you can to your children, and sometimes overlooking what you want and what your desires are.
Being a mum to me means everything, really. It takes up my whole life. They might be grown up now, but children never stop needing you, and grandchildren as well.
It's fulfilling, and I love doing it, but it's purely sacrifice.
Tiredness, I think. But that tiredness actually didn't stop you from functioning, because actually what you find is, as a mother, because you love your children so much, you get this energy from somewhere.
Time. When you're a parent, you don't have the time that you want, but you make it.
That motherhood has different stages of worries, from toddler to school age, and from when they're teenagers.
It's hard work, and I was not expecting like that, where you cannot sleep, you have no time to eat. But then see God's help, God's strength in every day, in the daily routine, make you make you feeling in a different way, and you are honored to do this role.
You know, seeing my daughter, my oldest one, near the piano, she's a good pianist, seeing her doing that, it brings me to tears, because it's just so lovely. All those years of bringing them here, there, every lesson under the sun, you know, violin and piano, singing and dancing and all those sort of things, has kept us very, very busy. But it's lovely to see that they've made use of that.
I think pain and hurt when they're hurting is a very, very strong emotion that I feel. If my children are hurting, I hurt twice as much, because you feel almost helpless as a mother. You think, well, actually, you know, what can I do to help them? And sometimes you're never going to be able to help them with every single thing, But it's about letting them know that you're there for them all the time, no matter what.
One thing that really sort of I think about at my age now is that you want to make sure that your children know the Lord. And so that's one thing that I've always prayed, that both my boys know the Lord and where they're going. And you know what? And I just thank the Lord that the seed has been sown in their lives. And even if I'm not here tomorrow or whenever, I know that they've got a path and the Lord is looking after them.
A lot of praise, a lot of worship, a lot of praying. Obviously, there's times in these situations where you feel lonely, you feel upset, you feel sad, you feel angry. But I think looking to God, it's just remembering, actually, He's always near. And He has your best interest. So no matter what situation or circumstance you're going through, if you remain to be faithful, He will hold you He'll carry you in every situation.
Recently, I've been listening to our Asian song, and that has literally throughout, because of having some troubles and all that. So that has basically made my way, I would say, my mind and my heart in peace, that I'm not alone. I'm loved by Jesus, and then I'm not left alone, I would say. Yeah.
But quite often, God seems to have taken people away, whereas quite often we're encouraged to share your problems and talk to other people and pray. But I've found the opposite, that actually a lot of the circumstances have been either too personal, and it's like, no, you've got to bring it to me. Just that reiteration all the time of draw close to me, whatever the circumstances. And I've learned to do that in different ways at different times.
I like, and I've always liked, the story of Ruth in the Bible.
Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. And that's so impressed my heart so much.
Hannah was honest to God about everything. She was honest about her pain, about her suffering.
She was persistent in prayer, and she was faithful to God, and she trusted that God would bless her despite her circumstances. And He did.
For everything that I need, God alone can supply it. We can do everything we want outside of God to try and get what we want. But at the end of the day, it's God alone who can do it. And He does it right and in His good time.
Mary, Mother of Jesus, just think of her as just a young girl agreeing to become a mother when she wasn't married, and all the ramifications of that, and then taking on the responsibility of actually looking after God's son when he was helpless.
I resonate with the love that she must have felt when she saw baby Jesus for the first time, and especially because he was such a special child. It must have been mind-blowing for her. And I'm sure that if you speak to any mother, when they see their child for the first time, it's a very overwhelming feeling to see your child and all their little features and their hands and toes and everything. And yeah, and then just to be able to hold them.
I think Esther is a very powerful, courageous woman. Esther was put into a situation where she didn't know what to do. And I think when you read her story, it's amazing that she started off just being a normal girl, and then suddenly she's becoming the queen, and then she's being asked to go before the king, and that takes courage. And I think that courage only comes from God.
And as I've looked back over things that I thought I would never get through, and I've looked back and you can see what God has done and how He's positioned me to help people in the future as well through those situations that I've known, yes, just like Esther. and just like Esther, some very dangerous situations and some very difficult situations at times. But God is faithful, and He's brought me not only to that place, but through it as well.
I've learned through them. I've learned a lot, seeing how God sees us probably. And then, I think they've helped me to grow in my faith.
Yeah, it's bringing me closer to God, us as a family, and the children that just want to know about Jesus more and more every day.
You are not only concerned of your own faith, but as a family with your husband and the faith of your children. So you want them to follow Christ as how I follow Him.
Because my son and daughter both moved so far away, I sort of feel that I can't be there for them in the same way. And so it depends more and more on God to watch over them and also the grandchildren.
When scary situations arise with health or financial things, it's just brought me to my knees really, because your heart, you feel for them, they're part of your flesh, and you just want things to become right for them. So I think it's brought me closer to God in the way that I pray more, basically.
My faith has grown so much. I mean, I got baptised on the 13th of February 2011, and my life's phenomenally changed.
Your child is your child. So even when they're not how you think they should be or behaving the way they should be, you've got no idea, you've got no choice but to keep loving them. And love is firm, love is kind, all those qualities come into you when you are a mom.
You stop and think, what do I do for my children instead of what do I do for myself? And that is where I think the love has changed a bit, because I'm no more thinking of me. I'm thinking more of what to do to support them and to make them feel comfortable.
I think the love is all about. Love is, when you don't feel loving, you don't want to be nice and kind, that is the time when you need to be showing the love, actually.
It's not only about receiving, it's also about giving, and giving beyond what you even think you can.
And along with those hard things come different emotions, like you would get angry, your patience will run out. But at the end of the day, you will always have love for your kids, and there is nothing that your kids can say or do that will make you love them less.
I think it was when I realized that I had the gift of knowledge. And so God will reveal things about people that I shouldn't know. And I would just talk to them and say, okay, I feel this. If I'm wrong, then I'm really sorry. And then when people break down into tears and say, oh, how did you know that? So no, it wasn't me, it was God. And I think He just wants you to know that He's thinking of you and He knows what's going on. And then I'll just pray with them. And you see the breakthrough for them, that realization that God is so willing to be involved in their lives that He would tell someone else just so that person could give them the comfort that they need and the direction as well.
When I first met my husband, he'd just come out of prison and we wanted to open a home for ex-offenders. But how many years? about 35 years later, God actually then took me out of teaching through some very difficult circumstance and opened the door for me to do support work in supported housing with ex-offenders. So all of these roles have been about teaching, but from many different aspects. And as a teacher, you're not just imparting knowledge and wisdom, but it's about nurturing and caring for the whole person as well.
It's hard when you stay awake on nights and when they get ill.
Sometimes through illnesses, had to really trust in the Lord to get us through these things, but always prove God to be good.
And I struggled with finding the energy, the following days and weeks to cope with the tiredness and everything else. But perseverance came through, and when you love your children, you do anything for them. So I did the best I could and adapted to the situation.
Teenagers, they always try to rebel, and you've got to try and keep them on the wrong track, but you've also got to let them develop into their own ways, but you've got to try and keep them focused. Not easy.
Sometimes you want to make them feel what you are feeling, but they have a different opinion. So it's kind of challenging for you. Sometimes I go into my room and I'm like, why is this one not seeing what I'm seeing? So it's kind of challenging, but then as moms, we still go back to them and let them know it is all love.
I think it's really rewarding, like when you get grandchildren come along. That's really exciting times. I was talking with my daughter, she wanted mum there. So that was like just an amazing experience.
And my daughter's accolations, her getting her degree, and she's gone on to start her own business, which is amazing, from what she struggled with. But yeah, my daughter's my life, basically. She really is my life. And being a mother, I would say, is the most, apart from being a Christian, is the most special thing, that gift that I have, is being a mother.
Just seeing the goodness of God and seeing what He can do through my children and through the grandchildren. Quite a lot of them come to know the Lord now, and it's really lovely to see.
Seeing them growing up in a God and be able to say no, that is a very important thing you should teach your children, to be able to say no, the things they don't want to take in part, and say proudly and happily, no, I don't want to take in part, even if your friends are doing and all those kind of things. So seeing them be able to do that and follow is very, important, and I feel happy and proud of my children. I never tell them I'm very happy and proud, but now I'm telling you guys.
We always say we are their first teachers. So they look at you, everything you do. So if we do something wrong, they will come and ask why. But we can explain we're human, we can do things wrong. So they need to learn from what we do, even the mistakes.
Every decision made is based on Jesus, basically. I've taught them very well, especially when they're poorly. First thing they ask for is prayer, even before they even want mommy or daddy's touch. Mommy and daddy, can you pray for me?
In any situation, pray, always.
Always be available to your children and enjoy those years that they're little, because time goes fast.
To keep talking to them and sharing things with them, so that they feel that they've got a connection with you.
God put us here in this situation, but He is the one that will give you the strength. So He sees us. Whatever it is you need to entrust, whatever it is you have to entrust to God, even though we try our best, we do it by our own strength, but He is there, He watches us.
Especially mothers that are on their own and maybe don't have family around them to support them and see them, help them with the bringing up of the family. Hang in there, trust in God. He'll never leave you. He's always there to advise you. Get down into prayer and God will answer your prayers.
It's Him alone that can teach our children. We can try and mold them, we can try and talk to them, but it's only the Lord that can, kind of touch their heart.
Being a mother in these days is so difficult. You have so many society pressures on our children. I think the advice I would give to any future mothers or our mothers is, you know what, be faithful. Look at the word, what the word is leading you to do.
Find someone as well who you can look up to. If it's in the church, find the mother figure. They might not necessarily be your mom, but find that solid person that you can fall on when you're struggling as a mother. Because as a young mother, my mom was there for me a lot. If she wasn't there, I don't know what I would have done, but I probably would have fallen on my church mother. So those figures in your life sort of encourage you, tell you that you can do this.
Be prepared for hardship and be prepared for, a broken heart, not for the bad things, but for the good things, because, children bring so much joy to you. And sometimes it does break your heart. You think, oh my goodness, children love you unconditionally. They really do. They love you unconditionally.
And no two child is the same. One is different, another is entirely different personality. Just walk around what works for both of them. Just walk around it.
I will tell them to put God in front of them. It all revolves around God.
Deuteronomy 6, verse 6, these commandments I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along on the road, when you lie down and when you get up. So we need to tell our children about the word of God so they can live in there.